You have felt it before, even if you never had a name for it. You walk into a room and suddenly something shifts. The air becomes heavier, conversations slow, eyes drift without intention, shoulders straighten, laughter loses its edge. It happens even before the person at the center speaks, sometimes before they even move. There is no announcement, no introduction, no explanation, yet everyone knows something has entered the space. That something is not confidence. It is not status. It is not beauty or volume or wealth. It is aura. Aura is the invisible gravity of power. It is the field that bends human behavior without force. It is what kings had before they wore crowns, what generals had before they gave orders, what predators have before they strike. It is not learned through words. It is cultivated through inner alignment, emotional control, and psychological positioning. Most people walk through life emitting noise. Their fears, their hopes, their hunger for approval, their need to be seen, their desperation to belong. Their energy leaks through their posture, their eyes, their voice, their micro-movements. They are loud without speaking. The world reads them instantly and categorizes them: weak, useful, harmless, replaceable. The truly powerful are the opposite. They emit nothing. And because they emit nothing, everyone projects everything onto them. This is the first law of aura. What you do not reveal becomes feared. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power does not need to explain itself. The moment it does, it becomes smaller. When a ruler speaks too much, he reveals his thinking. When a man defends himself, he signals vulnerability. When someone tries to impress, they admit they are not impressive. Aura grows in silence. Think about the most dominant person you have ever encountered. Not the loudest, not the richest, the one whose presence alone made others adjust themselves. You probably remember how they didn't rush, how they didn't fill gaps in conversation, how their eyes seemed calm, slow, observing rather than seeking. They did not lean forward to be liked. The room leaned toward them. That is not accident. That is not charisma. That is a psychological weapon. Aura is what happens when your internal state becomes so controlled, so anchored, so detached from external validation that your nervous system stops broadcasting need. Humans are wired to detect need. It is a survival instinct. A needy animal is prey. A calm animal is a predator. When your body stops signaling hunger for approval, people unconsciously feel unsafe around you. Not because you are dangerous, but because you are unreadable. The human mind hates what it cannot predict, so it tries to decode you. It watches you. It gives you attention. It starts orienting itself around you. This is how invisible power begins. Most people think power comes from doing more, saying more, showing more, posting more, explaining more. But aura comes from subtraction, from removing every unnecessary movement, every emotional reaction, every outward display of insecurity, until what remains is stillness. Stillness is dominance. Imagine a crowded room where everyone is talking, moving, gesturing, laughing. And in the corner, one person sits quietly, eyes relaxed, body unmoving. Without trying, they become the focal point. Not because they are interesting, but because they are different. They are not participating in the nervous dance. That difference feels like power. You do not build aura by acting dominant. You build it by becoming unreactive. The second law of aura is emotional insulation. When something surprises you and your face changes, you reveal yourself. When someone insults you and your voice shifts, you reveal yourself. When something goes wrong and your posture collapses, you reveal yourself. And the moment you are revealed, you are no longer powerful. The elite understand this. That is why aristocrats were trained from childhood to keep their expressions controlled. That is why kings learned to sit without fidgeting. That is why true strategists speak slowly. They are not performing. They are regulating. When you control your nervous system, you control the emotional climate of the room. Most people think rooms have energy. They don't. People do. And whoever has the most stable nervous system becomes the anchor everyone else unconsciously synchronizes to. That person becomes the emotional North Star. When they are calm, the room calms. When they are tense, the room tightens. That is aura. This is why someone who says very little can dominate someone who says a lot. Words are not power. State is power. Have you noticed how powerful people rarely explain themselves? They do not justify. They do not argue. They do not over-communicate. They let silence do the work. Silence forces others to fill the gap. And when others fill the gap, they reveal their position. The third law of aura is projection. When you remain still, people project their fears, hopes, and assumptions onto you. If they fear authority, they see you as threatening. If they crave approval, they see you as judging. If they feel inferior, they see you as superior. You do nothing. They do everything. This is why mysterious people are magnetically attractive. Not because they are special, but because the human mind cannot tolerate empty space. It must paint something onto it. When you stop telling people who you are, they start inventing who you might be. And their inventions are always bigger than reality. Aura is not who you are. It is who they think you might be. This is also why overexposure kills power. When people see everything about you, there is nothing left to imagine. You become flat, familiar, predictable. Power thrives on distance. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must always appear greater than he is. Aura is how you do that without lying. You simply refuse to reveal yourself. In modern life, this is even more powerful. Everyone broadcasts their thoughts, their struggles, their opinions, their moods. Social media is a constant confession booth. People leak their inner world all day. So when you don't, you stand out. Your silence becomes a statement. Your calm becomes intimidating. Your restraint becomes seductive. This is why someone who barely posts online, but is always composed offline, often feels more powerful than someone who shouts their success. Quiet dominance beats loud confidence every time. Aura is also built through pacing. Fast movements signal anxiety. Fast speech signals insecurity. Fast decisions signal emotional need. Slow is powerful. When you move slowly, you signal that you are not afraid of losing anything. You are not chasing. You are not desperate. You have time. Time is the ultimate currency of power. The fourth law of aura is tempo. The person who controls the tempo controls the interaction. If you slow down while others rush, they will unconsciously adjust to you. If you pause while others fill silence, they will start to feel evaluated. And people fear being evaluated. This is why interviewers, judges, and leaders often use silence. It puts others in a position of psychological submission. They start explaining themselves. They start justifying. They start performing. You simply watch. Aura is not aggression. It is pressure without touch. There's another hidden layer to aura that few people understand: physical stillness. Your body speaks before your mouth ever opens. If you fidget, you leak nervousness. If you shift your weight constantly, you leak uncertainty. If your eyes dart, you leak fear. Stillness signals that nothing in the environment threatens you. Predators are still. Prey is twitchy. When you sit in a chair and do not adjust yourself, you are telling the subconscious minds around you that you are comfortable in control. When you stand and do not sway, you are telling them you are grounded. When you look without blinking too much, you are telling them you are not afraid of being seen. These microsignals stack. People do not consciously register them, but they feel them. That feeling is aura. The fifth law of aura is physical coherence. Your body, eyes, breath, and posture must tell the same story. When they do, you feel solid. When they don't, you feel fake. This is why someone can say confident words, but still feel weak. Their body is betraying them. Their breath is shallow. Their shoulders are tight. Their eyes are searching for approval. Aura comes from inner alignment. You do not fake it. You regulate it. There is also a darker truth. Aura creates hierarchy. Humans instinctively rank each other. It is unavoidable. Someone with stronger aura will be placed higher in the mental hierarchy of everyone in the room, even if they have no formal status. This is why a quiet stranger can dominate a loud manager. Why a calm man can steal attention from a famous one. Why a woman with stillness can command more respect than one with beauty. Aura bypasses logic. The sixth law of aura is unconscious ranking. People don't choose who they respect. Their nervous system does. And the nervous system respects stability, mystery, and non-reactivity. This is why when a crisis happens, everyone looks to the calmest person. That person becomes the leader, even if no one elected them. Calm in chaos is godlike. This is also why emotional people lose power. When you react, you become small. You become readable. You become manageable. When you stay still while others are emotional, you become larger. This is what Machiavelli meant when he wrote that it is better to be feared than loved. Not because fear is good, but because unpredictability creates psychological distance. Distance creates respect. Aura is psychological distance. People don't know how to reach you, so they don't try. They start orbiting. Now here is the uncomfortable part. Aura does not come from thinking highly of yourself. It comes from being detached from needing others to think anything about you at all. The seventh law of aura is emotional independence. When you do not need approval, your behavior becomes clean. You do not perform. You do not sell. You do not persuade. You simply exist, and that existence becomes heavy. Most people cannot tolerate someone who is not seeking them. It makes them feel irrelevant, so they start seeking you. This is the paradox of aura. The less you try to be important, the more important you feel. You do not build aura by wanting to control others. You build it by no longer being controlled by them. This is why monks, old kings, and lone strategists often feel powerful. They are not pulled by social gravity. They are centered in themselves. That center is what people feel. When you enter a room with that center, everything adjusts. This is also why trying to imitate aura fails. You cannot copy stillness. You cannot fake detachment. Your nervous system either is regulated or it isn't. Aura is not an act. It is a state. To develop it, you must train yourself to sit with discomfort without reacting, to hold eye contact without flinching, to stay silent without filling the gap, to let others speak without interrupting, to be misunderstood without correcting, to be underestimated without defending. Every time you resist the impulse to react, your aura grows. Every time you hold your composure, your gravity increases. Every time you do nothing when others expect something, you become unpredictable. Unpredictability is power. This is why true power is quiet. It does not need to prove itself. It does not chase validation. It does not need to be seen. It simply is. And everyone else feels it. The room never announces who holds power. It simply rearranges itself around them. You have probably noticed how when certain people enter, conversations soften, laughter becomes more careful, and even confident voices lower just a fraction. No one commands it. No one plans it. It happens because the human nervous system senses something that logic cannot explain. It senses stability in a world built on anxiety. It senses someone who is not hungry, not afraid, not reaching, and that absence of hunger becomes magnetic. Aura is not brightness. It is gravity. Most people think to be powerful you must be loud, expressive, dominant, or impressive. That belief is why they will never truly have aura. Those traits attract attention, but they do not command space. There's a difference between being looked at and being felt. When you are felt, people change without knowing why. This is because humans mirror emotional states unconsciously. When someone around them is anxious, their body tightens. When someone is calm, their breathing slows. When someone is grounded, their nervous system relaxes. The person with the strongest regulation becomes the reference point. Everyone else synchronizes to them. That is why one calm person in a chaotic room can restore order, and one unstable person in a peaceful room can destroy it. Aura is emotional leadership. This is also why the most dangerous person in any group is not the angriest or the loudest, but the one who stays quiet while others unravel. Their stillness creates contrast, and contrast creates dominance. Machiavelli observed that rulers who reacted emotionally were easily manipulated. Their enemies could provoke them. Their allies could read them. Their weakness became visible. But a ruler who remained unreadable was untouchable. Unreadability is not mystery for its own sake. It is strategic opacity. It is the decision to not leak your internal state into the external world. Every human interaction is a negotiation of power. When you reveal how you feel, you give the other person leverage. They can push you. They can soothe you. They can influence you. When you reveal nothing, they have nothing to grip. This is why people with aura are often described as intimidating even when they are kind. It is not their intention that scares others. It is their lack of emotional availability. The human mind wants to connect, to read, to understand. When it cannot, It feels small. That feeling becomes respect or fear. Aura also shapes how others treat you. When you are calm and contained, people speak more carefully. They think more before acting. They become self-conscious. You did not ask for that. Your presence caused it. This is why people with aura rarely get interrupted. Why their words carry weight. Why when they move, others notice. You do not have to demand attention. You create an emotional vacuum that pulls it in. The eighth law of aura is psychological vacuum. Silence, stillness, and emotional neutrality create a void. Humans cannot tolerate voids. They rush to fill them with attention, words, deference, or compliance. When you are silent, others talk. When you are still, others move. When you are unreadable, others reveal. You gain information without asking. You gain influence without trying. This is why in negotiations, the one who speaks least often wins. The other side becomes uncomfortable and starts making concessions just to end the tension. Aura is not force. It is pressure. You also cannot fake aura because it comes from self-trust. When you trust yourself, you are not scanning the room for validation. Your eyes are not searching. Your posture is not pleading. Your breath is not shallow. You are anchored. This anchoring makes you emotionally heavy. And heavy things bend the world around them. People will walk around you. They will adjust to you. They will wait for you. They might not even know why. Now consider the opposite. A person who needs approval enters a room. Their eyes dart. Their shoulders tense. Their voice speeds up. Their jokes try too hard. They are broadcasting need. The room senses it. It does not respect them. It may like them. It may even love them. But it does not orient itself around them. Love is not power. Attention is not power. Validation is not power. Aura is power. This is why celebrities often feel less powerful in person than expected. They receive attention, but not gravity. They are consumed by being seen, not by being stable. True power does not want to be seen. It wants to be felt. This is also why old men who have mastered themselves often feel more dominant than young men with status. The old man has nothing to prove. He is not competing. He is simply there. His presence carries weight. This is why monks, and quiet billionaires often share a similar energy. They are internally settled. Internal settlement is the birthplace of aura. When your inner world stops moving, the outer world starts moving around you. This is the paradox. When you stop chasing, people chase you. When you stop explaining, people listen. When you stop reacting, people become careful. Aura is built by not needing the outcome. The ninth law of aura is outcome independence. When you do not need a specific reaction from someone, you become free. That freedom is visible. It changes how you speak, how you look, how you stand, and freedom feels powerful. This is why someone who could walk away at any moment feels dangerous. They are not trapped. They are not attached. They are not begging. They are sovereign, and sovereignty is aura. In a world obsessed with performance, being sovereign is revolutionary. You are not trying to convince anyone of anything. You simply exist in your own center. That center becomes a gravitational well. People fall into it. This is how true leaders are made. Not by charisma, not by authority, not by volume. By emotional mastery, and emotional mastery is invisible. No one sees the thousands of times you swallowed a reaction. The hundreds of moments you stayed silent instead of proving yourself. The years you spent training your nervous system to stay calm when others panicked. They only see the result. They feel the aura, and once they feel it, they will never treat you the same again. By now you understand something most humans never will. Power is not taken. It is absorbed. It flows toward the one who can hold it without leaking, without reacting, without needing it. Aura is not decoration. It is a gravitational field. And like all gravity, it pulls whether you want it to or not. At the deepest level, aura is the emotional architecture of dominance. Everything you have ever felt in the presence of a powerful person came from one thing. Their nervous system was calmer than yours. That calmness signaled that they were not threatened by the world while you were. The moment your body sensed that difference, it adjusted. Your shoulders tightened. Your speech softened. Your attention shifted. You moved into a lower position without being told. This is how hierarchy is born. Hierarchy is not created by law or title. It is created by emotional contrast. The one who feels safest becomes the center. Everyone else becomes peripheral. This is why the richest people, the most dangerous leaders, and the most influential figures often appear emotionally flat. They do not display highs or lows. They do not flinch. They do not rush. They are not pulled by the emotional weather of the room. They are the climate. When you become the climate, others become the weather. The weather reacts. The climate remains. Most people live as weather. They are happy when praised, angry when disrespected, anxious when ignored, excited when validated. Their state is controlled by external stimuli. That makes them weak, not morally, psychologically. A weak person is someone whose inner world is controlled by the outer world. A powerful person is someone whose outer world begins to reflect their inner world. Aura is the bridge between those two. When you walk into a room and do not adjust yourself to it, the room adjusts to you. That is the first moment of dominance. The tragedy of modern life is that people are trained to perform rather than to be. They are taught to smile, to speak, to sell, to impress. Every one of those behaviors is a confession of dependence. It says, I need something from you. Aura says the opposite. It says, I am complete. Completion is intimidating. This is why emotionally self-sufficient people feel dangerous. They do not need approval. They do not need agreement. They do not need to be liked. They are not negotiating their identity. They simply exist. And existence without need becomes presence. Presence becomes gravity. Gravity becomes power. Now understand this. Aura is not arrogance. Arrogance is loud insecurity. Aura is quiet certainty. Arrogance tries to rise above others. Aura makes others fall beneath without force. Arrogant people compare themselves. Powerful people do not. Comparison is a confession of hierarchy. If you compare, you have already placed yourself somewhere on a ladder. Aura lives outside ladders. This is why the most powerful people often seem detached from competition. They are not racing. They are not chasing. They are not reacting to rivals. They are playing a different game. This game is not about winning. It is about being unmovable. The unmovable become the axis, and everything rotates around an axis. When you speak, you do not persuade. You declare. When you move, you do not rush. You decide. When you look, you do not seek. You observe. Observation is power. Those who observe have leverage. Those who react surrender it. This is why true aura always comes with a feeling of being watched. People feel seen around you, even if you say nothing. They feel evaluated, measured, considered. This makes them self-conscious. Self-consciousness lowers status. They become careful. You become commanding. Aura is a silent psychological tax on everyone around you. They pay attention, and attention is currency. Whoever receives the most attention without asking for it becomes rich in influence. This is why presence is more valuable than charisma. Charisma demands attention. Presence receives it. The man who tells stories may be entertaining. The man who listens becomes dangerous, because while others reveal, he collects. Power is collection. Information, reactions, weaknesses, desires, insecurities. The quiet person absorbs them all. Aura creates asymmetry. You know them. They do not know you. And asymmetry is control. This is why Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright, but must also be ready to not be so when required. The appearance is for the masses. The inner state is for power. Aura is the inner state. It is what allows you to smile without softness, to speak without giving yourself away, to be warm without being open. You do not close yourself. You contain yourself. Containment is power. When water is contained, it becomes pressure. When energy is contained, it becomes force. When emotion is contained, it becomes aura. Most people vent their emotions. They bleed energy into the world. They feel lighter, but weaker. The powerful compress their emotions. They hold them. They integrate them. That compression creates intensity. That intensity is what people feel. This is why someone who has suffered deeply and mastered it feels different than someone who has never suffered. The first has density. The second is light. Aura is emotional density. It has weight, and weight bends reality. This is why a powerful person can say very little and change everything. Their words carry the mass of their inner world. You feel it. Now here is the final truth. Aura does not make you powerful. Power reveals your aura. When you have nothing to lose, your aura becomes unstoppable. When you are not afraid of rejection, you become magnetic. When you are not afraid of being misunderstood, you become mysterious. When you are not afraid of being alone, you become a leader. This is the ultimate secret of aura. It is not built by adding. It is built by removing fear. Fear of judgment, fear of isolation, fear of being wrong, fear of not being enough. When fear leaves, presence enters. When presence enters, the room shifts. And when the room shifts, the world follows. That is how invisible power becomes destiny. That is how aura controls every room. And once you have it, you will never have to ask for power again. It will find you. Power is not something you possess. It is something others give you without realizing it. This is the great secret that almost no one understands. People think power comes from status, money, titles, fame, or dominance. Those things create visibility, but visibility is not power. Visibility is exposure, and exposure weakens aura. True power is granted by the nervous systems of the people around you. They decide, subconsciously, who is safe to challenge and who is not, who can be ignored and who must be considered, who is small and who is dangerous. They decide this not by what you say, but by how you feel to them. When someone feels emotionally grounded, detached, and self-contained, the human brain categorizes them as high in the hierarchy. When someone feels needy, reactive, or eager, they are placed lower. This process happens in milliseconds. Aura is the emotional signal that tells other people where to place you, and once placed, it is extremely hard to move. This is why first impressions feel so powerful. But it is not the impression that matters. It is the emotional state you bring into the room. If you enter from a place of self-trust and emotional stability, people feel it. If you enter from anxiety and hunger for approval, they feel that too. The room becomes your mirror. Most people live their entire lives trying to manipulate how they appear. They choose the right clothes, the right words, the right social masks. But none of that matters if their inner state is chaotic. The body always leaks the truth. Aura cannot be dressed. It must be cultivated. The second layer of aura is internal authority. Internal authority means you do not seek permission from the world to exist. You do not look to others to confirm your worth. You do not wait for validation to feel real. You decide who you are, and the world adjusts. People who lack internal authority are constantly scanning others. Are they liked? Are they respected? Are they winning? That scanning makes them weak. It places their center of gravity outside themselves. People with aura have their center of gravity inside. They do not ask, "How do they see me?" They ask, "How do I see myself?" And that difference changes everything. This is why a king walking alone feels powerful, while a man surrounded by admirers can feel hollow. The king does not need the crowd to confirm his existence. The crowd needs him. Aura is built when your identity becomes self-generated instead of socially generated. Most people are socially generated. They become whatever the environment rewards. They shift personalities, opinions, and behaviors to fit in. That adaptability may make them liked, but it makes them invisible. The powerful are not adaptable. They are consistent. Consistency creates predictability. Predictability creates trust. And trust creates gravity. When people know that you will not emotionally collapse, they relax. When they know you will not overreact, they feel safe. When they know you will not chase them, they feel drawn to you. This is the emotional mathematics of aura. It is also why leaders who try to be liked lose authority. They become emotionally dependent on their followers. And the moment that happens, the followers feel it. Humans always sense when someone needs them. And when they sense that need, they unconsciously rise above it. The one who needs less holds more power. This is why Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must avoid being hated, but he must also avoid being dependent on love. Love makes you vulnerable. Fear makes you isolated. Respect keeps you sovereign. Aura creates respect. Respect is not admiration. Respect is recognition of emotional strength. When someone respects you, they believe you are not easily shaken. That belief makes them careful around you. That carefulness becomes influence. Aura is not about intimidation. It is about unshakability. Now let us talk about one of the most misunderstood elements of aura, emotional opacity. Most people think being emotionally open makes them powerful. In reality, it makes them readable. And what is readable is controllable. When others know how you feel, they know how to push you. When they know what you want, they know how to bait you. When they know what hurts you, they know where to strike. Powerful people do not hide their emotions. They regulate them. They feel everything. They simply do not broadcast it. This creates an asymmetry. Others reveal themselves. The powerful remain unknown. And in any interaction, the one who knows more holds the advantage. Aura is informational dominance. The less others know about you, the more they have to guess. The more they guess, the more they become psychologically invested in you. The more invested they are, the more influence you have. This is why mystery is not a trick. It is a structural advantage. It creates a psychological loop. People think about you because they cannot complete the picture, and whatever occupies someone's mind begins to control them. Aura is mental occupation. This is also why you should never over-explain. Over-explanation shrinks you. It tells others you need to be understood. Powerful people do not need to be understood. They let their presence speak. When someone misunderstands you and you do not correct them, you grow. They start to wonder. When someone doubts you and you do not defend yourself, you grow. They start to question themselves. The person who remains calm while being questioned becomes larger. This is because social reality is not built on truth. It is built on perception. And perception is shaped by emotional signals. Aura is an emotional signal. Now consider this. Have you ever noticed how some people feel important even when they do nothing? They sit in a room and everyone notices them. They speak once and it matters. They are not trying to dominate. They simply are. That is aura. They have trained their nervous system to stay calm in uncertainty. They are not seeking outcomes. They are not attached to reactions. They are not anxious about the future. They are present. Presence is power. When someone is fully present, they are not split between who they are and who they want to be. They are not performing. They are not anticipating. They are here. That makes them intense. Most people are never truly present. They are always half in their head, half in their fears, half in their fantasies. Their energy is scattered. Scattered energy feels weak. Focused energy feels strong. Aura is focused being. And because it is focused, it cuts through noise. This is why someone can whisper and be heard over shouting. It is not volume. It is coherence. The more aligned you are inside, the louder you are without speaking. This is also why meditation, solitude, and emotional discipline create aura. They pull your energy back into yourself. They stop it from leaking into the environment. When your energy stops leaking, it builds pressure. That pressure becomes presence. Presence becomes aura, and aura becomes control. Not because you manipulate others, but because their nervous systems start orbiting yours. This is the true secret of leadership. Seduction, wealth, and influence. Not tactics, not tricks, not persuasion. State. Control your state, and you control the room.